welcome back to 642 Things to Draw. This is prompt number 13, and it looks like we just have one for this one. I haven't done just one prompt in a while. And a robot. Alright, there's a lot I can do with that. Let's get into it.
What's up, voiceover mode? Alright, so for this prompt I was pretty excited to just have one because with robot I could do a lot of things. So I just doodled out some basic little robots. And then I remember this TV show I used to watch when I was younger called My Life as a Teenage Robot. I'm pretty sure the main character's name was like Jenny. I think her mom was like a scientist that built her. So I thought maybe drawing out a character but as a robot could be a lot of fun. And I thought it would be. So yeah, then my brain made it a little bit darker. And I thought about, what about a character who's been turned into part robot and you don't really know why, like they don't know why they're a robot now either. And well, that was kind of the idea I liked and decided to go with. But yeah, it was sort of like a robot character, almost like Nebula from Guardians of the Galaxy, because I just thought that was kind of cool, but a little bit less of an unfortunate backstory than Nebula has. Oh, she is honestly one of my favorite characters from that entire series. But yeah, anyway, about this prompt, I thought it might be fun to sort of have this character in like a comic book style. That's something I haven't done yet for a prompt, and I thought it might be kind of fun to do different comic panels. And yeah, that's just kind of what I went with, and I wanted to have sort of a storyline behind this prompt. So, as always with my prompts, I sketched it off camera because it takes me a while, and it just isn't a process I think that you guys would want to see. If you do, let me know in the comments below. I will do that if you guys want to see it, but I just figure it saves us all some time. So I'm just lining everything and using my ruler to keep the lines as straight as possible because with a comic, I like to have some nice clean straight line edges that of course later in this drawing I completely mess up, but at least the effort was there from the beginning, even if it didn't continue the whole way through. But yeah, a little bit more about this backstory for this character. So I was thinking about this girl, and my original idea is that she's waking up in like a hospital, so she's in a basic hospital bed, just, one of those cheap, probably gross green blankets and a pillow, and she's just realizing that, oh, wait, why does she have a robot hand? What's going on? And then she looks out the window because something just doesn't seem quite right. And of course she ends up running because things aren't quite right, and that's because in the background, well, I wanted to put in a nice big explosion, because that felt very comic-y, action-y to me. So, yep, that was my whole plan, at least from the beginning. But as I was working on this a little bit longer, I thought about it a bit differently, like, how can she run so easily with a robot leg so quickly? Like, if she had just woken up with these new pieces, she probably wouldn't have much control over how they work yet. At least, that's my thought. Maybe she's gifted and just knows how to work with her new robot leg and arm really quickly, but I just feel like that doesn't make much sense. So, I then thought, what if she's just waking up in her bed, her normal bed, just a blanket, pillow, mattress, basic. And she's looking at her hand strangely because as I add color into this later, it sort of has this odd glow to it. The kind of glow that you normally don't see. And that prompts her to look out the window to find out what's going on. And what she sees, this gigantic explosion, is what prompts her to run away because, well, if she doesn't, she's also going to blow up with the bomb thing that goes off in the background. Yeah, that's at least what I changed it to. But as I was shading this in, I wanted to try and keep things as black and white and neutral as possible with the panels, and then have most of the color in the background with the explosion. But with this character, I wanted to make it look like it was at nighttime, or that it was at least very dark in the room that she was in, so the glow from the explosion would be a bit brighter. So that was a fun challenge for me to figure out how to shade everything like that, especially the face. I was really worried about making her face seem too dark, but I feel like I did pretty well with the first, top panel, but the bottom one, I feel like I just didn't shade her face as well in the end, And I could go back and change it, but I'm also just so terrified of messing it up that I'm just going to leave it alone. So yeah, figuring out how to shade all of these things was quite a challenge. And I'm just using the Prismacolor liners that I have because I have the most variety of line sizes with those. And they also sort of have this neat scratchy texture where if you don't go quite perpendicular on the paper with them, they sort of scratch along the paper so that the lines are a bit more uneven, and that gave me some more texture to work with in this piece, and I really liked that. It was also just kind of fun to work with different lines and do cross-hatching, because I haven't done that in a really long time. And I forgot how much texture it can just add to a piece and how much more depth it can add than just a solid, like, black shading line. So that's something I think I want to try again, just doing some cross-hatching, but with color. So stay tuned for whenever I decide to actually do that in a piece. Don't know when that'll be. Might be soon. Might be 4 years from now. Who knows? And yes, if, as you may have guessed, this prompt took me quite a few hours to work on, and I think it was worth it because it's something I definitely don't do very often. So it makes sense that it's going to take me a longer time. But yeah, I put a lot into this one, and I think I learned a lot, at least about how to set up a comic panel sort of style. I learned a lot about shading and cross-hatching, and that a lot of the materials I end up using on this later, they don't all work the best together. So I learned about what to use together and what not to use. Oh yes, and as I'm shading this final panel in the corner, realizing how little contrast there is in it, and that really, really bums me out. And the light source is also very confusing in this bottom one. Like, there's light from behind her, but I shaded it more like there's light sort of in front of her to wherever she's running, and maybe there is, because I don't really know where she's running to, just away from danger, but I don't know, maybe she's running to some kind of headquarters, or just in general running away, or maybe she's running to go and save her cat. Who knows? So maybe there's a light source in front of her, but yeah, it wasn't the best shading choice that I had. And now I'm adding all the color into the background for this gigantic explosion, and I wanted to make sure it came through the windows, because that's obviously where that glow effect is going to come from. And as I'm using all these gelato things, they're Faber-Castell Gelatos, as I'm using all of them in the background and smudging them out, yeah, they ended up messing up all of my nice, neat straight lines. But like I said, the effort was there in the beginning at least. It just didn't continue to this part of the piece. But yeah, I was using those Faber-Castell Gelato things, these like watercolor markers. Then I used paint pens later, and all these materials don't really work the best together, but that was a good lesson for me to learn and discover, and it was still a lot of fun trying to make them work together. I think it eventually accomplishes the look I was going for, but if I did this piece again, I would definitely try and pick just one of those to go with, and it would probably be like a watercolor sort of thing, just so I can get more of the explosion-y effect to blend in better together. And I'm using those watercolor markers. I just scribbled them into this porcelain dish thing that I have, and I mixed those with water, and I used that to add some glow to her. And I wanted to make the glow look like it was getting brighter as the panels go down, sort of like there's a time lapse in between each thing that's happening. So the first panel, the glow isn't quite as bright. Then the second one, to the left of it, it's definitely brighter, like the explosion is getting closer. And then the final one, she has more of a white glow to her, and it's probably from the light source that's in front of her more than the glow behind her. But yeah, that was my thoughts on at least the color theory-ish part of this piece. And I just used a basic white gel pen. I think it's like a Milky Ink Colors gel pen, just to add some more highlights into this. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this prompt. I think it was a little bit more in-depth than I had originally intended to go with it, but it was nice to try out a different sort of style and do this comic book-esque sort of thing with panels. And I also feel like I drew this character similarly enough between each panel, so it looks like the same character for each panel. So I'm pretty proud of that. But yeah, I had a lot of fun with this prompt. Thanks for watching prompt number 13. I hope you all have a fantastic day, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, guys. Want to see more shenanigans? Then make sure you subscribe so you don't miss out on any of my future videos. Oh, you want to see more shenanigans like right now? Then check out these suggestions on your screen or head on over to my Instagram. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Check back soon for some more shenanigans. Bye!